Well, if there's one thing I love, it's pickled walnuts, and in this tree just up here behind me is a whole big walnut tree, and last year it had almost nothing, my first year here, but this year it seems to be fairly well covered, and rather than wait till later, I mean the top ones have come down and just dropped down the nuts this autumn, but I want to get some young ones now. It's just coming to mid-June, so mid-June to beginning of July. I usually find that the shells haven't yet formed, and it's the ideal time to pick the green walnuts. Once the shells start forming, it's no good because they obviously get the brittle bit inside. Let's go and get some now, and we'll make some pickled walnuts for the year. So these are they. They're fairly small yet. I could let them go a little bit longer. I don't want them to get hard. Now, walnut stain is well known for its dyeing capabilities. They go very black when they're stained, so you really want to wear gloves when we actually prepare them. We're going to have to just top and tail these, or we should do. I never have done, in fact. But if we just slice this one open, there's no shell there forming at all, so it's an ideal time. But this seemingly innocuous clear liquid will actually go black very, very quickly and certainly stain your hands. But that's what we're going to want today. We're going to take them in and use a fork to prick them all over. We'll put them into some salt water for a couple of weeks, changing it once, and then they're ready for pickling. Don't want too many, just a jarful will do me this year. Could be huge amounts years past. Well, this should do me for a couple of jars, look. Well, I can sit out here in the piece of the garden now. I've got a small fork, an old kitchen knife that got broken ages ago, and I've sharpened up here to make a working knife, and the obligatory marigolds, because otherwise I'm going to have very black fingers, and I don't particularly want that. So I haven't got that many, enough for about 2 kilner jars I suspect here. And the first thing to do is just top and tail. I'll just whip off these stems. Although I've never done this before, normally when I do them I just do them as they are, and that's the end of the story. So we just whip off the stems and the tips. And I think, as I say, of course a lot of it will be also on the pickling spices, and you change pickles so much by the spices you use. I think I've got some old dried spices left that I can use for this and just boil up with the vinegar. It saves making your own up, and you can do. So many recipes on the net for that, making pickling spices. All we're doing is just taking off the ends of the knife like that, put them back in with the rest. Now if you look at the end of my thumb now, you can see the yellow liquid that will go black later on there, look. Now the next job is very simple again. All we do is take an ordinary fork and go all round them. Watch out because they tend to disperse a little bit. You don't want to get the stuff in your eyes or on your face. Black spots, and you prick them all over like that. Just take a fork and stab them all over, and you can see some of the juice coming out as I do it. All the way around. Don't need to go deep. It's just so the salt water can get in, because when we put the salt water in over a couple of weeks these will turn lovely and black. Alright, well now you can see just how yellow or black these would be. I'll give these a rinse off, and we'll get on with onto the next stage. Now if we take a closer look at the actual walnuts, you can see now how the fork marks have dotted all over, really made sure that every single one of them has had a good pasting with the tip of the fork, and they're ready for salt water now. Now, as with many of these things, the recipes differ a bit. You can rinse out first. So, just a thorough rinse first of all. Cold water of course. Pour those out. That's what I'll do here, just a couple of palmfuls will do fine I reckon. I'm using sea salt for this. Well, it's 3 palmfuls for this amount I think. Fine. Leave those to leave those now standing aside for a week, and we'll do the same again for another week, and they'll be ready for pickling. There we go. Right, get on with doing the painting in the garden. Well, the walnuts have had 2 weeks now, a week in one lot of brine and a week in another lot, and as you can probably see it's very black liquid and they've turned almost black. So the thing now is to make the pickling vinegar, and I'm going to cheat a bit because I've already got some pre-made spices here for that. Wonderful things. I've got some lovely things in them like yellow mustard seed, dried ginger, root pieces, whatever root that might be, crushed cassia bark, bay leaves, cloves, allspice, bird's eye, chilies, black peppercorns. Yeah, that's all the things I put in obviously myself. Yeah. And how much to use? Well, let's just see how they're going to fill this jar I've got first. A collection of lovely old kiln jars and things, and this one's absolutely ideal. It should be just the right amount of this, so we'll just pour them into there. With a bit of luck, that jar will be big enough. Let's have a look now. Get my fingers a little bit on this now because I'm going to be long doing this and I'll wash them straight away. This jar might be too big actually. I think it will be about the right size, but I need a smaller jar. I was thinking it's going to be a lot more than there is. Let's see if I've got a smaller jar. I'm not far from that. Well, yes, I've got a couple of smaller jars, but I think actually that'll be about right. Now, how much vinegar is to guess as well. Let's say we're going to need at least 2 bottles. I don't think we're going to need more than 2 bottles, so I'll cook up 2 bottles of that. I can always put it back into a bottle and store it later anyway. So what we're going to do then is to take the pickling vinegar and put it into boil. Yes, 2 will be plenty I think, and we can store it for later then. In fact, 1 might be enough even. If I do 2 I've got plenty of spice for later. And here, how much shall I use? Well, I guess if I use, looking at that and what I'd normally use, I think half of that will be plenty. Not the heavy stuff then. Strange mixture here of fine and heavy, and the heavier stuff's down to the bottom, so I'll save a little bit for another time. Plenty there, that's for sure. And add a bit more vinegar. I like pickled eggs as well, so I might as well do some pickled eggs later. If I have this much already prepared, then I'll be one away, won't I? For the future. Oh yes, there'll be plenty here. So we'll just let that simmer a little bit. There we go. Of course, I've no idea how I'm going to get this blackened washing up bowl clean again. As you can see, it's pretty dark inside. I'll just back some hot water and bleach into there and see what happens. Otherwise, I'll just buy a new one later. They're not that expensive, are they? Anyway. Right, we'll just let that simmer for a while. Well, it's had time to cool off a bit, enough anyway, and we'll not be too far out in the vinegar, I don't think. In fact, I want the spices in there as well, so pouring it off and make sure all of those go in there with it. There's no point in wasting that. There we go. Not much left there. Whatever. A bit of vinegar just to pour back into here. I'll put it into a jug and then pour it in there, I think. Take some of that vinegar out. And we'll save some of that and just put more of the spices in it. There we go. It doesn't need to be topped over really. There and if I can use some of this for another day, that'll be good. I'd like to do some pickled eggs sometime. Oh, they're covered well enough. And that with the rest of the pickling spices should just do pickled eggs nicely because they don't want to be too strong. There we go then. Let those sit for a couple of weeks before we try them out. Voila! And there's our pickled walnuts ready for this winter.